on Shabbat Perek Tet Mishnah Bet. We're on the second of a few Mishnayot of non sequitur of Minayim. The Mishnah is talking about different Asmachtot. Where do we have a proof or an allusion to the fact that certain halachot are the way they are? It says the Mishnah. Minayim the Svinashi Torah. How do we know that a boat is tahor? Actually, the Kahati explains that this is a machloket in the Gemara. Because is it based on this pasuk, or is it based on a comparison to what's called a sak? There's a pasuk that talks about the idea, according to a Tana named Chananya. Okay, the Torah says that it's anything that's tahor that can become tameh is et or beged or sak. If it's sak, the word sak, he says, comes to include even boats. Okay, but the problem is, if this boat is made of cheres, then it's not made of a sak. A sackcloth is only made of cloth, of material. But a sak is not made of cheres. So according to Chananya, if you made your boat out of cheres, it would be mekabel tuma. But according to this Tanakama, it says a boat is never mekabel tuma. So he says, minayin the svina shehi Torah. Do I know that a boat is tahor? It cannot be mekabel tuma. Shneimar, as it says in Mishnah, derech aniyah b'lev yam. The way of the boat is in the heart of the sea. Bartanura explains, obviously, pshita de aniyot b'lev yam. That's obvious. So what is the pasuk telling you? Lashmina de svina reu kiyam. The boat itself is like yam. It's like the water. Ma yam tahor, asvina tahor. Just like yam, the water is tahor, the sea is tahor, so the boat is also tahor. Even if yishel cheres, this is what it's referring to, that position of Chananya. Even if it's cheres, even if you built it on the tu'una b'yabtanua b'yabasha, you load it on the dry land, and then you put it into the sea. That's the first halacha. Svina shi Torah. A boat is not mekabel tuma according to this opinion. Next thing is a halacha in kalayim. So just by way of introduction, as we all know, you're not allowed to, or if you learn Masechet Kalayim, you're not allowed to plant two different species in connection to one another. Each one has to have a distance of, if I have two plants, okay, I got two plants, each one has to be 1.5 tfachim away, has to have its personal space of 1.5 tfachim, so they have to be 2 tfachim away from each, 3 tfachim, here we are, 3 tfachim away from one another. Okay, that's what it means, otherwise it's kalayim and you can't leave it that way. So the Mishnah says, but, interesting halacha, and if you want more about this, this Mishnah is really per kalayim, per gimel Mishnah aleph. Minayin la'aruga. Shisha al shishat tfachim. If I have an aruga, if I have a small plot of land, and this is what everybody has, so they wanted to maximize their plots of land, they wanted to plant different things. They wanted to plant, on the one hand, corn and squash. So how far do they have to be? How do I know if I have an aruga shisha al shishat tfachim, 6 by 6 tfachim, shezorim betocha chamisha zeronim, I can plant up to 5 different types of plants. Arba be'arba ruchot ha'aruga. 4 in 4 directions, ve'echad be'emtza, and 1 in the middle. So I'm just going to I made you a chart. I made you 2 possible charts. This is a chart of the Kahati. Now, in order to understand this, you have to know there's a rule about Kalaim, and especially Arugot. And the rule is, we're not worried about Yanika, we're just worried about mixing. All this is Dinei D'Rabbanan, it's not talking about Tvu'ah, it's not talking about grapes, so we're all talking about Dinei D'Rabbanan. And the rule is as follows. The rule is that as long as they intersect, Arugot intersect each other, on an angle, they don't have to be separated at all. If you want more about this, look it up in Kalayim, but that's the rule. If they're on an angle, if they're going in different directions, this and this, even though this is, blue, whatever, each color symbolizes, this is cabbage, this is peppers, this is cucumbers, this is corn, okay, and this is something else, whatever, this is pumpkins, whatever, it's very small. Each one of these is a tefach, it's 6 by 6 tefachim. So in each case, how do I know? So as long as they're on an angle from each other, so this is the description of the Kahati. The Kahati says the middle one is on an angle, and then I have each of these, they cover 4 tfachim, and since they intersect at angles, therefore there's a heker. It's recognizable that each one is from a different kind of plant, and that's not an isur of kalayim. On the other hand, the Bartanura, he seems to imply that this is the implication. Mimalei says that kol haruach at samuch lekeren. You fill each direction almost until the corner. In the middle, you only plant one seed. And this is exactly the way the Bartanura, you can see the whole thing. The Bartanura describes his case. Each one, remember that's the same principle. You fill each one up almost until the corner. They're on an angle to each other, so there's a heker. Also, they're in a different direction. Okay, and therefore there's a heker, and then one seed in the middle. And that's how you get 5 into the 6 by 6. And why 1 in the middle? Because they're not in the right direction, but even now if I have in the middle, there's 1.5 tefach space between this. This one has its 1.5 tefach space, and this one has its 1.5 tefach space, and everybody's happy. How do we know all this? So how do we know I can get 5 different plants on a 6 by 6 space? Shneamar, as it says, Ki ha'aretz totzi tzimcha ukegana zu'eha tatzmiach. Ki ha'aretz totzi tzimcha, the land will produce its growth. Ukegana, and like garden, zeru'eha tatzmiach, its plants will grow. Zar'a lo ne'amar ela zeru'eha. It doesn't say zara, it seeds, it's zeru'eha. So the Bartanura explains that the Gemara learns out from a pasuk. Each word, totzi means one plant, simcha, one plant. Zeru'eha is 2, because it says zeru'eha. Tatzmiach 1. Harei chamisha is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, he says, so that's how you know that the land, okay, gana, zeru'eha tatzmiach, it's talking about 5 different plants. The Bartanura says, Shishat Tvachim. How do you know it's talking about a 6 by 6? Elakim lehu l'Rabbanan. The rabbis knew they had a Masorah. There was something that was passed down. The Chamisha Zeronim B'Shishat Tvachim. Okay, that 5 plants in 6 Tvachim. Lo Yanke Haruchot Mina Emsa. The sides are not yonek. They're not drawing from the middle. Below Emsa Mina Ruchot. They're not from the sides, from the Ruchot, from each different direction. That's why, according to the Bartanura, I have directions and from the middle, and that's the distance that you need to have in order to allow you to have 5 in a 6 by 6 area. Remember, we're talking about here, this is what we would call Asmachtot. They knew it. There was a halachot, it was part of their Masorah. Nonetheless, they never want to say things on their own. If they have a pasuk that they can use in order to make their point, Chazal are going to do it. Okay, we'll stop here. If you have any comments or questions, as always, feel free to contact me at rspoto@gmail.com. That's my email address. And we'll dedicate the learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a good day.